One of the biggest stars of the 2021 crypto bull run was a blockchain game project called Illuvium. Now, Illuvium wanted to build a AAA level monster capture type game. We're now in 2025 after a long, painful bear market, as crypto bear markets always are. But I think we're just months away from a blow up in crypto prices. And blockchain gaming is way outside the narrative of what everyone's thinking about right now. By way outside the narrative, that means everyone's talking about Bitcoin, ETH, and almost no coverage and focus on what I think will be one of the biggest narratives in the altcoin blow off top, which is blockchain gaming. As savage crypto investors who like to identify companies that will be huge before they are huge, Illuvium is just the right project to have on, with co-founder Kieran Warwick joining us so we can take a deeper look at it and see how the gaming development is going, see how the player base is doing, as well as how their financial runway for their company is. Now, especially as the Illuvium token price hits near bear market lows. This may be the exact right time to evaluate if the ILV token is right for you, if Illuvium's Series 1 Illuvitar assets are right for you, or possibly if this is the right game for you to be playing in your gaming time. Welcome to the Crypto Rain channel and our family. Now, if you like me, you came into crypto because you realized the potential for life-changing gains over a greater 4 to 8 year period. And you're looking for discussion on becoming a solid, unshakable, and savage crypto investor, much like a Navy SEAL in the crypto investing world. Well, if that's the case, you're in exactly the right place and with the right family, the Rainmaker family. Now, the reason I created this channel is because I'm here in the crypto space as an investor, and I wanted long-form reason analysis on which crypto projects were interesting and why, and especially when they're massively undervalued. When I was new to the crypto space 8 years ago, I was looking for a crypto channel and network that understood crypto as an investment and discussed the most important things, like projects when they were undervalued, like the 4-year investment cycle, pros and cons of those projects, the risks of those projects, and the get to the upside if it came together well. I didn't really find that. Yet I was already doing all the research anyway, so I created that and it grew. And it isn't just me anymore, it's a family of rainmakers, and you'll find them here in the chat. You'll find them in our private Patreon group that allows you access to our private Discord, which is where the very best discussion and best info is. There are other benefits too, but because I like to underpromise and overdeliver, you will have to join us to find out what some of those extra bonuses are. Do note, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a crypto investor and gamer myself. I do want to get rolling on this interview. Super excited to have co-founder of Illuvium, Kieran Warwick, joining us. Kieran, thank you for your time.
Mr. Rain, how are you? It's good to be back.
Yes, it's been a long while since we chatted. I've been following Illuvium since pretty much 2021. And your brother's project since like 2019. So your family's been in the crypto space, and you've been in the crypto space for a long time. And excited with some of the things that you're doing, but we haven't done a deep dive on our channel in Illuvium in a while. So thank you for joining us.
No worries. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Now, what I get excited about is that most don't realize that there's this bigger crypto explosion coming, and millionaires and even decamillionaires will be made, but it's by identifying projects that have all the right components that are outside the narrative. Like nobody's talking about them. And sometimes they say, oh, that project's dead, and they're nowhere near dead. But to really know, the best way is to get on the founders and see what's going on in the company. And in preparing for this interview, I watched a bunch of the recent interviews that you've done, caught up a bunch on what's going on with Illuvium, and it's anywhere but dead. Do you sometimes hear that Illuvium's dead?
All the time.
Isn't that the funniest thing?
Yeah. It's but you know what? Like the reality is, we had a whole bunch of hype in 2021. We had very ambitious goals to hit. We were building 3 games all at once, not one, from a debut studio, and we didn't deliver up to the standard that we wanted to. And so a lot of that negativity is probably valid, but that was 12 to 18 months ago. We have blocked out all of that noise. We've built through the bear market. My entire team, we downsized our team, and we've actually become more efficient. So we're saving, we reduced our runway by over half. So now we're very much the leanest team we can possibly be, with the exact right people that we need. And we've just been building. And finally, we're coming out of that, and people are starting to see very quickly, oh, it's more I thought they were dead now, which is progress.
Yeah, it's funny. Now, I get excited when token prices are really low and everyone's saying they're dead. But at that point, I really dive into the research and be like, are they dead? And one of the key questions I have for the company is like, how is your runway looking? And you alluded to that a little bit, that you cut your staff to extend your runway. What's your runway looking like now?
So we've got 18 months runway right now, and we're gearing up for an additional capital raise at the end of the year. Probably early next year is when we'll be looking to close that out. We need to do a lot of work. The reality is I don't want to raise at the current prices, right? It's going to deplete our treasury too much to do that. If it was desperate times and we needed money right now, sure, we would dip into that. But we're not at that stage. We've still got plenty of runway, but we are gearing up for more. And the ideal scenario is we show enough really good stuff, and we'll go through it in the discussion today, that investors see, okay, these guys, it's one of the largest IPs in this space, and we see where they're going with this. It makes sense that they need additional funding, and we're very confident. We've already started those conversations, and it's actually surprisingly quite positive, and things are starting to turn around with VCs in the space as well.
Yeah, I was watching one of your previous interviews, and you said some of your previous round investors have been following the project closely and really like where you're at and are eager to invest again should you do another capital raise. So between an 18-month runway and then the additional ability to raise capital, seems to me like you're in a really strong position, especially now. My personal opinion is that the altcoins really start to blow up in the next 3 months. But there's only let's say that's a 60% chance. If it doesn't happen, then it's likely to go probably first quarter 2026, which is still well within your timeline. I could be wrong on that, and you still have plenty of timeline, because then once the crypto blow up happens, everyone starts to focus on blockchain gaming somewhere within there. And then your token price goes crazy, and your ability to raise goes through the roof, and you can get 10 times the amount of money for potentially less of what you would have to give in that type of environment. And then you end up with great long-term capital. Is that your feeling too, of what you're waiting for and just kind of waiting to pull the trigger, though you have the ability on additional funds? Like, why pull that trigger now when you have plenty of ability to be patient?
100% right. We need more ammo. And we're building up that arsenal of ammo right now. And once we have, the more we have to show people this is where we're going, this is how good the games have gotten, they're polished, players are coming back. We've got a pro league which just started. Things are looking really positive. We're just going to keep on throwing fuel on that fire to show people where we're going and really light it up. Very similar to what we did in 2021. And similarly, in 2021, there were situations where we were going to raise, and we pushed it back because, we wanted to show how much we could build. And then finally, we did a raise. So it's not my first rodeo when it comes to capital capital formation and how we actually acquire that. And so I got a plan. I'm going to stick to it. And yeah, things are looking really, really good now. And as you say, if it's actually kind of a good scenario, if the bull market doesn't hit for say another quarter, that just gives us more time to throw more fuel on the fire. And then once it does hit, the bigger your fire compared to everyone else, the more that's going to amplify. And keeping on with that analogy, hopefully we start a wildfire and it goes insane.
Wildfire. I laugh because some of your alluvials use the wildfire. I forget what you call it, but yeah, that was one of my favorite ones in my team, was using the wildfire.
Chapturo.
Yes.
The affinity.
Yes, the affinity.
Yeah.
All right. So now it's a monster capture game. Going back to your initial plan, why did you go? Let's just step back to when you were planning this. Why did you go with a monster capture game?
So myself and my brothers who started this project, we all have different backgrounds. One of them is an expert at art. He was our art director. He's a modeler back in his time, one of the best in the world. Aaron has a game design background, so he was the one who designed things. And myself, being the entrepreneur with startups and, being able to go out and pull all this together, we started Illuvium. And when we've always talked about starting a gaming studio since we're all very, very, very young. And our dad always said, you guys should go and do that. All you do is you're all addicted to games. I'm trying to get you outside and we can't do it. So you may as well double down on it, And one of the games that really resonated with myself and Grant was Pokemon. We just fanatical fans. We absolutely loved it. And we lost that feeling over time with Pokemon. It's not, don't get me wrong, we still buy every Pokemon game that comes out, but it's not the same. We were chasing that feeling that we had when we were young. And when I found NFTs, because I was in the crypto space, they weren't. When I found NFTs and I saw what Axie was doing, I was like, this could be the next Pokemon if you create that IP and then you have this underlying tech where it's immutable, it's forever on the blockchain, it's proof of ownership, you can sell it, there's marketplaces, there's liquidity. My eyes lit up and I was like, it has to be Pokemon. It has to be a competitor to that IP, and maybe we can be the ones to knock them off. Insanely ambitious goal, but that's kind of the type of people we are. We're probably a little bit crazy.
I'll have some further questions on the IP. Fast forwarding a little bit to the last 18 months, you've made some big updates recently, especially to Illuvium's Arena, which is like an auto battler. Tell us about the updates and how the players are receiving it. I'm going to give you the stage.
So the first thing that we did or realized was the format that we had previously was a 1v1, which is by no means can't be a fun game. But what we were finding was it's a very, very steep learning curve with auto battlers. There's a lot to learn. It's highly strategic and it takes a long time to master it. So your drop-off rates for a new player that comes in is higher than what it would be on, say, a casual mobile game or even something like a shooter like Fortnite or whatever, where people just get it. I know how to shoot a gun and away they go. There's a lot of deep learning required. And so with 1v1, you can feel a little bit upset when you're a new player, you play one guy, he smashes you, maybe you start another game, he beats you because you don't know what you're doing yet. And that's a really negative experience. Whereas turning it into an 8-player battle royale, you might have 2 or 3 people in that lobby that are similar to you that haven't played a game yet much, and you might finish 5th or 6th compared to, coming last or just losing a direct battle. And because you've beaten 1 or 2 people, you're like, oh, okay, maybe I am, not so bad at this. And you play another game and another game. And so retention for our 8-player battle royale has been astronomically higher than what it was with Ascendant. Obviously, there's a whole bunch of other polish that we've put into the game in terms of adding the ranger and the different synergies and classes that you have, and even visual polish where you go into the lobby now and it feels like a mainstream game where if you paid $80 for it, you would be like, okay, this has got that level of quality and polish now. So that helps with retention. But the big switch was going from 1v1 to an 8-player battle royale.
Yeah, I like it. So you finished some things there, which has given you greater retention. And then you've moved basically most everyone over to what do you call an overworld, which is becoming your MMORPG direction. What can you tell us about what you're working on with that?
Yeah, so this was probably our biggest downfall. The idea in the ecosystem was you go into what we wanted to show interoperability, right? Between which you can do because you're using NFTs, and there's the ability to take an NFT out of one game and start playing it in another game. And we thought we'll create this ecosystem. And so Overworld was designed to be the place where you go and capture these alluvials, and that obviously exists. You can go into the Overworld, you can go and capture these creatures. It's a beautiful, diverse world. There's 4 different regions that you can go into, and you collect these alluvials. The issue that we had was that was about where the content stopped. There wasn't the ability to go in multiplayer, so you couldn't game with your friends. So you lose that social connection, the social proof of doing things in a big group, which you would then, share that content online. There was no melee combat. So instead, we added our auto battler format of combat. So when you came up against an alluvial, you would go into the auto battler, right? Which in an ARPG, it just doesn't work, right? It was very much an experiment, and we did it to try and cut corners in terms of speed of delivery. And it was a really, really bad call. People want action. They want chaos. They want to be able to have multiple abilities that they can spam and combos in the combat, and feel like they are there fighting themselves, not I'm playing a strategy game. It lost its immersion and feel, and that was one of the biggest things that made people drop off. They're like, this had the potential to be like, it feels like a Zelda or like a new age sci-fi Pokemon. We got all of that feedback, but the gameplay is just not there. And so what we've been doing the last 12 to 18 months is designing what does the new overworld look like. And that includes almost all of the things that everyone was sitting there saying, this would be amazing if we had that. We're cramming that into this already built, beautiful world. So it's not going to take us as long as a traditional MMO. We have a 4 or 5 year head start, which is really, really handy. But there was still a lot of work to do to get all of these features in. And we're just starting to play test them now. And it's just, it's night and day what this game was compared to what it is now.
Agreed. I'm going to jump over some questions from the community. Money Mail Day asks, play to earn economies often collapse because new players fund old players. How exactly is Illuvium breaking that cycle, and what's the worst case scenario if growth slows?
So there's still play to earn elements across our entire ecosystem. Now, play to earn, I don't love the term to be honest, because it's more a situation where we want someone to come in and be like, this is an amazing game. Hey, I've got an excess alluvial here or there, and I might sell it on the marketplace. I have that opportunity. Rather than everything that you spend in a game just being a sink and you can never get that out. We like the idea of, okay, maybe I'm finished playing Illuvium, or maybe I'm going to hold on to my characters for the next 10 years, and then when they're super rare compared to all the other new characters that are out, I'm going to sell them. That ability to make a gaming digital asset similar to the real world, where if you had a Pokemon card, you can go and sell it. If you have an Illuvium NFT, you can go and sell it. That's how we're now thinking about the overworld. So there's a lot of free-to-play elements to get people in, so you can experience the entire ecosystem without having to have microtransactions and multiple payments left, right, and center. But then there's also woven into the fabric a bunch of different ways where whales can jump in and quickly spend a whole bunch of money. And then, that does fuel the economy, where other players who might be playing for free, they can potentially, sell them assets or a few other features that exist within.
Another question is, Chris Ashby asks, how will Illuvium raise more capital, generating more tokens or selling tokens from the Illuvium treasury?
So we have 1.7 million tokens in the treasury, which is 17% of the supply. It's a little bit more than that, but we've still got 17% of the supply. When we built our tokenomics, we wanted to have a really beefy treasury. That was the first thing. But then we also wanted to have a ton of rewards put aside, and we've used barely any of those rewards. A government proposal that went through the DAO recently moved those tokens from reward tokens purely into treasury possession tokens, which means all 1.7 could potentially be used for a capital raise in the future. So we've got, like 3 capital raises worth of treasury holdings. So we're all fine in that regard.
Yeah, that's quite a lot should you need to sell them. And I agree that I think the altcoin run's not very far away. I do think one of the biggest narratives is blockchain gaming. This idea of ownership is going to be transformational. And games that don't quickly update to ownership will get left behind, because people will say, why am I going to put all this time, money into a game that I don't own this stuff? And they don't think about that now because they've never really experienced that. Axie Infinity was the first, and I was an early investor in Axie Infinity. I made so much. I bought some land in January 2019. I came home, told my wife, I'm like, baby, I just bought $4,100 worth of land in this blockchain video game. And she's like, oh, that sounds like a lot. I was like, it's going to be great. And she's like, well, how good is the game? It's like, well, the game won't be out for years. So you bought land in a video game. You don't even know if it's going to be any good. I'm like, yes. And it's going to be amazing. And then for like 2 years, it went down, just because, like, when people aren't thinking about crypto, they aren't thinking about blockchain gaming. And I remember Axie Infinity had the hardest time getting traction. They were paying people to play. Essentially, they're like, hey, if you guys want to play, we'll give you a free team of Axies, which, costs money. So I got an extra free team of Axies just by saying, yeah, I'll take a team. Yeah. And then someone else hit me up in a different Discord thing that I was in, was like, do you want a free team of Axies? I'm like, yes, I got 2 free teams of Axies plus those I had bought. And Yeah, like they were trying to get people to play because they couldn't get traction, and then the crypto market took off, and then people started thinking about, wait, this idea of ownership is really good. And because crypto was taking off, you could play Axie Infinity and make money. And if you ever played it, you know it was a boring ass game. But because they were the first, and some people like that kind of gameplay. It's not my kind of gameplay. I struggled to play it, but they still were a great team, and they designed it first. And what they did was amazing and transformational. And because of that, they had a huge blow up, and they've done tremendously well, and probably have a gaming studio that will continue to pump out really good stuff because their positioning was well with an idea that was a good idea. Because this idea of ownership will transform all of gaming, and most aren't yet aware of it. So I do like Illuvium's positioning. You guys are in a monster capture game where you can go out and capture monsters. You have IP that's created. Now, one of the things you wanted to do, you stated early on, is you wanted to create IP that was good enough that people really fall in love with your alluvials. How is that going?
That box was ticked a long time ago. If you've seen the IP that we have and the level of fidelity of our characters, the cutesy ones, the scary ones, there's a very wide gamut of, I like this. And I tend to ask people just randomly, I'm like, what are your favorite alluvials? What are your favorite alluvials? If you had to name three, and you always get, I think there's some common ones, there's like Squiz and Atlas. It's kind of like Pikachu, Squirtle, Bulbasaur, like the starter ones that are babies. They look so cute. They've got cool abilities. A lot of people will say them, but then you usually get one which is like super left field, and you're like, oh, okay, why do you like that? And it's like, oh, because it's Omega, which is the one big ability that it does, shoots a shadow across the screen, and our graphics are so good, and the VFX are like cinema level, that they're like, oh my god, this is so amazing. That was not our issue. It was that we didn't build a game for gameplay like Axie, right? Like that simplistic style of game, which is super effective, easily ported to mobile, all that kind of stuff. But we wanted to build, if we were going to build that next gen Pokemon, it needed to be a step up. We're 30 years on. It had to be what is 2020's version of Pokemon, and that's 3D models, that's new characters, and we base them off extinct and endangered animals, and we hope that people will also see that type of thing and go like, yeah, that's a really cool idea. And that our IP, we've ticked. We need to now re-release Overworld with the gameplay that people wanted, and I think when we do that, it's game over.
I'm excited to see, and I love the ideas of MMOs. My favorite types of games are MMOs because there's so much economics at play. Like EVE Online, I played that back in 2003, shortly after it came out, and I used to make money on that. I would sell the stuff on eBay that I would earn in game, and back then eBay let you.
Yeah.
And they cracked down on it, right? Like, you can't do that. That's against the terms of service, and they'd ban your account. So I stopped playing, and I restarted playing it in 2018 just to get a feel for where blockchain gaming was going to go. Because like MMOs and blockchain gaming, this is a match made in heaven. Like blockchain, where you actually own the assets, this will be amazing. So I've followed Illuvium really closely since the beginning because you were the first to come out with a monster capture game. Although when you guys were early talking about, I was trying to picture what it was going to look like going around in this world and like see these things and try to capture them. And now if you played Illuvium Overworld, you have an idea of what it is currently and where it's going. I'm excited to see what it's going to look like as you guys re-release it more towards the feedback that you've gotten, and to make it more engaging so that people love it.
Yeah, and just on that economy wise, one of our game directors we got from Eve. So we're definitely leaning into that style of systems progression.
Yeah, EVE Online, if they would just switch over to blockchain, they would go huge, but they never will because their existing player base would like revolt. And
Yes. Yeah.
because essentially they are. I played that in 2018. I found out that one of the corporations, they may or may not be selling some of the stuff on the side, some of the Plex, and that the CEO might be making about 300,000 on the down low running his CEO. I was like, imagine if that stuff was all on blockchain and not
Yeah.
discourage, but actually encourage how much people leading large guilds or corporations would make. And
Yeah.
then they have that conversation, say they're single, and some girl asks, "Oh, what do you do?" And it's like, "Oh, I'm a CEO." CEO of what? Corporation, a video game. Yeah, but why did you pull up in a Bentley? Well, because I bought it. Like, what, you
Yeah.
play video games all day? Yeah, I do. And you have a Bentley? Well, that's one of my cars
Yeah.
from playing video games, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the dream. I think, who was it? I think it was like the Roblox CEO came out yesterday or something, or the day before, saying that he thinks in the future playing games will be one of the most sustainable job economies in the world or something. And I was like, wow, that's obviously Roblox isn't in blockchain yet, but I think I haven't read the article, and I just skimmed the headline, and I was trying to process that and see what that would mean. I feel like they're talking about he's talking about having AI. Let's zoom out like 20 years. AI will be playing the games for us, and we'll be configuring AI to go and play those games for us. Therefore, when they go out into the world and they're a good gamer, or maybe they're playing the esports for you, and you're their coach effectively, or captain, or owner, whatever you want to call it, you're making the money, and your Autobot is going in there and playing the game. I don't like. I think that's maybe where he was going with it, because I find it a little bit crazy that the Roblox CEO would be talking about, like, say, play to, what we classify as play to earn. So I think there's more to it, but it's a very, very interesting paradigm that is starting to form here when you start thinking about adding AI into the next like 10 years of development across all these different industries.
When you do have it on blockchain and you have this idea of asset ownership, it will encourage people that are high levels in business that love video games to get in and open up guilds and businesses in it. And you will see a higher level of gamer. You will also see more money come in. I think people aren't even realizing the amount of money that will come into blockchain gaming. I saw that a little bit in Axie Infinity, and I went to the Bitcoin conference in 2021, and this one guy's like, "Oh my gosh, I got to tell you, the very best investment in the crypto space." And I was like, okay. And he's like, "See Infinity Land. Are you familiar with it?" I was like, "Yeah, I just sold the last of mine." He's like, "Yeah, it's so great. I've been buying the Mystic plots for 50,000 a piece. And I put together 2 million in capital to buy a bunch of these." And I was like,
I
I
just,
bought them
I
for
just
$80.
you. You
What's that?
probably bought my Mystic plots that I
Yeah,
just
exactly. I'm like, wow, buy low, sell high. And I was selling high, and, but the amount of capital people were raising to come into blockchain gaming. And that was just the start, right? That was from some people. I think it's going to expand, and people don't realize where that's going to go, because traditional games are cool, but they're just money sinks, and they do think, how can we get more money out of you? And there's no value return. Those items, you don't own them. You can't sell them. You can't escape with that value. I have an arsenal of World of Tanks, of all these tanks that, I can't do anything with. The premium tanks that I bought, like, it's just dead to me.
graveyard out there of assets that I've bought. Don't worry, we're all in the same
Yeah.
boat.
Yeah, like World of Warcraft, there's like a black market for the gold, so you can kind of get out of it. What if that was all encouraged? Like Axie Infinity, what they did right was they made it, other than getting your initial game or team to play, as you earn, they just took a transaction fee. So they take 4.25% transaction fee. They made $1 billion in revenues off that, just that transaction fee, which was amazing. And so I'm excited where this all is going. Another question from the community, a few more coming in. When is Illuvium planning for a second land sale?
So what we've said about our land plots is basically, we've only sold 20% of what they potentially would be. The only way we are going to sell more land is if the ecosystem demands it. And I even have a sneaking suspicion that maybe even we'll never sell more land. It's not up to me solely. As you know, we're a DAO, and that is a proposal that gets voted on, and it's something that we can talk about. But all of our landholders receive 5% of revenue, right? And so when you start thinking about those types of numbers, $1 billion in revenue Axie made, that's $50 million that would be distributed to landholders if that existed in their ecosystem. If we replicate the same sort of thing and all of a sudden millions of dollars are going to landholders, I believe the token holders are going to stand up and say, hey, maybe we should do another land sale, and we can talk about it there. But as it stands right now, no plans to sell any more land. We need to get the existing plots generating revenue. And once we do that, we can but it's a long time away, and we've got a lot of work to do. But as you say, things can turn on a dime. Like when this gets hot, because I did that exact same journey as you through Axie. The reason all this started was I called my brothers and I was like, all right, you know how to design games. He was actually designing a game at the time. And Grant, I was like, who did the art, I was like, dude, it's kind of a trick question. I was baiting him, but I was like, do you think you can create art, as in characters, better than these Axies? And he was like, dude, you're spitting in my face right now. I'm like, what are you doing? And I was like, oh, but like, are you sure? Because all we need, and he was like, dude, I do like Ferrari work and Lamborghini work where he's modeling those cars. Like, you're really offending me now. And I was like, all right. So we looked at it, and then they were like, show us the gameplay. And I was like, well, here it is. Like, this is going to be the next big thing. I'm telling you, I've just bought I spent like $1,200 on Axies. And they were like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, yeah, that's how much it costs to get into the game. And they were like, dude, you're on crack. Like, what? No, you can't. That's not going to be the next big thing. And I was like, trust me, it's this ownership side of things. Don't worry about the game. Don't worry about the artwork and the mechanics and all that kind of stuff. Ownership. Just grasp your head around that. And it took me a couple of weeks, and then they saw it and they were like, oh my God, right? Like, this is the thing. And it moved ferociously fast from that point. Because I think you were a bit earlier than me. I was 2020. So I missed the grind. Everyone was like, oh, I bought all this stuff and no one's playing and whatever. I missed all of that. And I bought probably like 2 months prior to the absolute explosion. So I got someone on Cointelegraph did an article of how I flipped a land pot for like 150 grand. That is going to happen again. And it's kind of crazy. Like, people, even my friends who saw that, they're like, so is crypto dead? Like, it's just not, like, it's dead, right? And I'm like, dude, it's weird. It's like humans forget, because it's such a painful time, a bear market, you condition yourself psychologically to be like, this is never going to get better. It's like, it's a human thing that you do to try and cope. And then when it happens, you're like, of course this is going to happen. Like, it does every 4 years. Like, I'm an idiot. Like, what? And so we are getting dangerously close to that moment. That's why, we're coming out of our shell right now, and we're speaking to every single person that we can. We're showcasing as much as we can, because very, very soon around the corner, every single thing, there's going to be stuff where you're looking at and you're like, that's impossible to have that valuation, and yet it does. And we're here for it.
It's so funny, and it's so predictable. And you're right that it's hard to get people to open up to that. Like, I find with the type of message that I do, I thought it would catch on better traction. I knew some people would be resistant, but I cover projects mostly when they're cheap. And when they're cheap, other people aren't thinking about it. So it literally bounces off 95% of the crypto audience, because they're like, oh, that project's dead. Its price is down. When they want to come in is when it just went 10x. But if you miss the first 10x, say it goes another 5x from there, the person that bought at the bottom is up 50x, and the other person is up 5x. So if you're here for investment, like, you want to be buying when things are massively cheap and undervalued. Now, how do you know if they're cheap and undervalued or just on their way to death? Well, that takes talking with the team, so you can see what kind of runway they have. How's the leadership doing? How's morale? What is catching on? What isn't? And you do that, and you're like, man, the health of this company is fine. Like, most people don't realize there were 2 points with Axie Infinity. I thought they were going to die. I was like, and oh well, damn. Mm-hmm. And but they got bought out, or they got invested in by Animoca Brands, which gave them like 10 million. Which kept them alive at a point that they were almost dead, right? And they just had to survive, and then their idea caught traction, and they blew up. And forever, like, as long as they do things right, they could be around 20 or 30 more years from now, because they were in the right place at the right time with a very good idea.
I think they just recovered a whole bunch of their treasury that they lost in that hack as well. So they've got so much money. The games that they're building don't require 1,000 people studios. They've made it clear we're not going for that AAA style of game, which is totally fine. There's a huge market for where they're building it, and I agree with you. I think Ronin, I think Axie, they've stapled themselves as the first gaming IP. Were Sandbox is, I mean, Sandbox was before them, I believe, but like, I don't know. It's kind of more a metaverse versus a raw game. And we were really the second game to come onto the block. And no one is, this is the other thing, like, you start to think about it after, right? When things go parabolic, you're like, okay, well, now I'm going to, what's the catalyst here? And you quickly think like, oh, well, if all of retail is coming in, retail doesn't come in and start using Uniswap and SushiSwap, right? Like, that's someone who takes 6 to 12 months. So where do they go? They go to Binance, they go to Coinbase, they go to Kraken, they go to all of these big exchanges. And the games like us that did that grind in 2021 and had to go through the 50,000 hoops to get a listing on Binance were positioned accordingly. When retail mass comes in, they're not going to go through some opaque system and whatever. They're just going to go, oh, Binance, gaming's hot, 5 tokens here, buy, right? So that is such a huge advantage. And on top of that, all of our token is distributed now. We had that 3 years of unlocks where if you got in early, pumped crazily, and then a ton of unlocks. None of that exists anymore. We're fully diluted, and so it's just really about choosing the right projects. And in our case, as you say, we're really I think $9 was where we were at our lowest. We're at $13 now. We're pretty close to there. So you're getting max value if you think that we're going to do what we've done. And the other thing is, we've done it before. I know the playbook. I know what we need to do to grab that attention. And so yeah, that's why it's such an exciting time right now.
It's so exciting. And some people, they want to wait around till the bull run, but it's like they've missed the opportunity. The opportunity is now. And I love that blockchain gaming, it went preemptively crazy in October 2023. And it's since corrected down so that some of these blockchain gaming projects have hit their lows now, this close to when I think the blow off top is. And it's a crazy opportunity, in my opinion. And so I'm so glad you've joined us. One more quick question before we jump in. We're going to move from this setting over to another interview, which only our private Discord is going to have access to. And I do have some more questions from them, but I'll save those to the private Discord portion. We have IMS asking a question here. Once MMO Lite comes out, do you plan to extend content over time, adding new maps, storylines, bosses?
Absolutely. So the light tag is because there's not going to be the same level of like an EverQuest or a World of Warcraft out of the gates. The plan is get a really good game. Like we still have a lot of diverse content. There's going to be hundreds of quests that you can go in and play. There's going to be, I'm not going to say 100, but a lot of bosses that you can go in and fight. And there'll be things like raids that you can do. And all of this kind of stuff will start adding on to over time. Like we're adding new sets to Overworld, the sets being the characters, there will be new content all the time.
I like that. There is another one in here from Penguin, which we'll get to. I didn't see this before. Does Kieran think NFTs and or gaming narrative will hit this cycle?
The only reason that gaming and NFTs haven't hit this cycle is because retail is not here, right? The same thesis exists as it did in 2021. No one knows what a DeFi protocol is. AI is still, I talked to my wife about AI and she's like, you're actually scary. But like, I don't want to know any of that. Like they're complex systems that exist in crypto, and DeFi had its day in 2017, but it didn't have mass retail coming in. It had mass investor interest, right? NFTs, the idea of a pudgy penguin or a bored ape, the simplicity of that, the idea of, oh, this is like collecting stamps like I've done, or Tarzos or Pogs or Pokemon cards. I've done all of those things. I can see them in my room over there. This is the digital equivalent of that. That is, you're not doing mental gymnastics to understand that. It's that simple. So will NFTs have their day when retail comes back in? Absolutely. And it's going to be so insane that you're sitting there like, I knew that. I knew that because of 2021. Why didn't I just commit to it? Gaming is the same thing. Billions of gamers around the world. Billions. It's so easy to understand. Do I think Fortnite is going to be successful? Oh my God, I can easily buy a piece of Fortnite just through Binance. How easy is that to do? So anyone that's sort of sitting there thinking, oh no, I don't think this is going to be the thing, and maybe it's not going to happen this cycle, it's just because normies, retail people aren't here yet. That sort of FOMO is going to come over the next like 3 to 6 months. When that does, they're looking for the easiest avenue. They've got FOMO. A friend's told them crypto's going off. I'm rich again, and they're going, oh, I don't understand anything. Oh, I do understand artwork and I understand games. Going in that. So I'm not worried about will it hit.
What's so funny is, 2021 was so easy for me to see that was going to happen. I was like, let's play down this 4-year time frame. There's big pullback after 2017's bull run, 2018, 2019, 2020. I just like put money away because it's like 2021 is going to be big. And people are like, no, crypto's dead. Not going to happen. I was like, how do you guys not get this? Then when it happened, they're like, well, of course it was going to happen. And I was like, how'd you not see that? But then those same people go away during 2022, 2023, 2024. I'm like, where are you guys? How do you not see this going to happen? Oh, well, those who got lucky in 2021, it was just luck and it's never going to happen again. It's like, oh, it's going to happen again and it's going to be bigger. And people are going to be like, oh yeah, I missed out again. Now, thankfully, some of my friends who did not listen to me in 2019, 2020, like they got it when they saw the games in 2021 and they're like, oh, okay. And they were always really smart. Why they couldn't see it is because they had like checked it off that like, oh, crypto is kind of not going to happen and Bitcoin will never replace gold. And they didn't dig deeper into realize that blockchain cryptographical encryption was going to allow the internet to do things it could not do, like digital ownership of game items in video games, which is a transformational idea that now you can actually own these actual items and you can transact them, which will change video gaming for forever. And in the near future, games that don't have that will not be played because they're like, why would I play that? I can't sell the items. Once people get used to ownership, they won't accept anything but ownership.
Yeah. But I do think, you know, before you can get to that stage with gaming, you need really, really good gaming experiences that can okay. So here's the analogy that I'll use. If GTA comes out and it had a blockchain integration, the sheer size of the market of GTA players, right? You're talking hundreds of millions of people. If all of a sudden you could own your assets inside of GTA, and it's these rumors, and I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if it did, the moment that a game that respectable, that well known, an IP that's been around for that long, if they integrated it, all of a sudden everyone would be like, well, no, I sold my GTA assets back in 2025. This 2035 game that's come out, I don't own them. Then yes, you would get that situation. But we need either a new IP to come out, which is where we come in, and Axie comes in, and a bunch of other good games that are building, or you need an existing IP to see the light and go, okay, well, it's happening. And that is happening. You know, Ubisoft just came in with their Might and Magic franchise, which is, I played that game when I was like 3-4 years old. It was unbelievable. And so it is happening and it will happen. It's just a matter of time. How long that horizon is, I'm not sure. But the concept for me, like when I first saw this in 2020, I'm convinced that this is going to be the future. When we can be a little aggressive with it and tell people like, no, like, you know, I don't think gaming is going to exist. And I think that sort of hurts us a little bit, you know, because we're trying to get people to come across. And if they feel like they're being told what to do, maybe they're going to renege a little bit. And so I don't know. I think it's just going to be a natural progression, similar to how people said no one's going to play a game on their mobile phone. Literally, like they were like, you're an idiot. Like it's a screen this big, no one's going to do it. And now it's bigger than, you know, PC. So it's just a natural progression.
And it's funny, a lot of the big PC games, they tried to make a version for mobile, but it was too complex. And like games like studios like that built Clash of Clans became some of the biggest gaming studios out of nowhere, right? There were nothing prior to that. And I think blockchain gaming will, the people that don't come in early with a really good product, they'll have missed a window that they're going to regret for forever. Just like, you know, some of the, like IBM missed the chance to build an operating system, and Microsoft, which was nobody, some people working out of a garage in Albuquerque, New Mexico, created Microsoft and became one of the biggest companies in the world. I think some of the gaming studios, they're just comfortable where they're at. They're going to miss this revolution and they're going to come way late to the party, and they'll only kind of throw half-heartedly at it, while some people that are very focused are going to produce games that produce so much revenue that they'll become the behemoths in the future. And my hope is Illuvium's positioned well of that. I own the token myself. I bought a whole bunch of land. I own like 20 or 30 plots, and just waiting to see where this goes. Excited with the updates that you guys are doing. I think you're on track, doing the right things, that I feel even better about the investments I've made after hearing exactly where things are at. So with that, Kieran, we'll wrap up this interview. I will send you a link through Discord for the next one, for the private interview for the audience. And for those watching, I've got our little Rainmaker rap that I'll play in the meantime before wrapping this up.
Came into the space chasing all of the gains, chasing the pumps and all of the hype trains. But like in life, shit bad before you could. Was told to buy when it was pouring like a rainmaker should. I buy when it's down, don't chase the boats that I miss. Cause I always made the time in mind. I stick the one out cause I'm patient like that. And I'll wait for the right time. I sell when it's high, I buy when it's low. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm just a rainmaker running the show. Calculated investments, I don't leave with my heart. The principles are simple, they're leaving a mark. Buy when it's boring, just gotta be smart. I sell when it's hype, like all the channels they pump it. That's when I was selling a parabolic to dump it. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Time is never better, the time like the present. This next 5 years is a gift and it's feeling like heaven. I'm committed to learn, studying to know that nothing comes easy but with knowledge the game show. Sticking out this wrong cause soon will come a bear market. We're learning and growing and when it's slow will be the target. They say it's come out, Bitcoin is dead. The massive decreases can get to your head. Sticking around, the time is better. Strong like that, I'll let the others be fretters. 2 years time the ball will bring back the gains. That makes it worth the effort cause here comes the rain. So let's go rainmakers, let's make it all happen. Let go of the hate, let the haters be crapping. I'm here for 5 years, let's do this together. The time is right, the time could be better. They call me rich, they call me smart. I'm a rainmaker, making my own start. I'm with the future, learning the past. Makes the time fly by, years going so fast. The game plan is mine, I'll own it now. When I reach the top, haters asking me how. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I'll follow what I learn, not relying on luck. Haters be hating, the time to slow down. Addressing what they say when I'm wearing my crown. They're chasing green candles like someone who was new. I got a vision that was bigger, helping me to push through. I'm still human and sometimes it is rough. And that's what makes me special, simply I stay tough. Cause I'm a rainmaker, investments I love. And I follow what I learn, not relying on luck.